this episode, we are going to understand why natural remedies are not nearly enough anymore and why many people are having complaints about natural remedies in this modern toxic world. And also we are going to see what a registered mineral balancing practitioner can do for you that other holistic practitioners and medical doctors cannot do. So stay tuned. Welcome, Guardians of Balance wannabe, to Essential Wholeness podcast. Let's dive deep with me, Eduardo, your guardian guide into deep healing, spiritually, mentally, and physically, with the most powerful, non-toxic solutions for this new, very toxic world. Natural medicine alone falls short in a world that is so depleted and toxic. Hence, we all need to find non-toxic solutions to clean up our physical bodies and then use it together with mental and spiritual healing. In this channel, we will discuss together how to do all these things, and we will be interviewing many experts around the world. And welcome, my dear friends, in this brand new episode of this beautiful, awesome, great podcast. Thank you for joining me. I am Eduardo, as you know from our introduction. So, what are we going to talk today about is why? Sorry, I'm having so much fun doing podcasting. Why natural medicine is not working. We have spoken about this in the first episode, but let's dive deep into problems. So, and again, what can a registered mineral balancing practitioner like me can do for you? So actually, are we sure that we still are in a natural world? I have been studying lots of natural remedies. There have been many healers in the last century, many of them, the most, I would say, successful, not just business-wise, but successful in healing people, were mainly operating in the 70s and 80s, and sometimes even in the 60s. Not speaking about, of course, the great giants that we did find, that we did have in the first half of the last century, like, of course, Max Gerson being maybe one of the most, Dr. Hammer, I don't remember his age, but yeah, that was also, he was one a big one. So, but as we go on with the decades, it seems to be very difficult. How come that many people are trying to heal with the natural medicine? I'm speaking about natural medicine, of course, because if we, in my humble opinion, if we speak about unnatural medicine, like allopathic medicine, it's not a big mystery why they are not healing, actually. They use some quite toxic things to quote-unquote heal people, and by the way, their definition of healing is not mine, so okay, but just speaking about, natural medicine, I going around, not just online, but even in real life, I find, sorry if you hear some background noises, I'm in a very noisy city, I'm sorry. Going around here, there, I always find holistic practitioners that speak about, for example, the 5 law of Hammer, Dr. Hammer, very great. Soul healing, soul retrieval, and naturopath are speaking about, medicine, like herbs and food. There are the raw foodist, naturopaths specialized on candida, etc., etc. But why come that many people are not succeeding in healing nowadays? I mean, they can succeed in lowering their symptoms. They are, for example, following, a blood type diet. I have two clients that were following a major doctor here in Italy, very famous one, that is a nutritional doctor that is proposing the blood type diet, and they have been suggested to eat lots of fish, and they ended up with a mercury poisoning because they ate fish twice a day for 2 years. And I mean, there are also some other healers that says that the mercury in the fish is not a toxic form of mercury, but I strongly disagree. I mean, I have seen people eating fish for quite some times going almost mad. Mercury is very much related to psychiatric conditions. I totally don't agree with that. I mean, every form of mercury, in particular if it is in excess, in my opinion, is toxic. Okay, so this is not a thing you should mess up with, and but still, I mean, these people are going round and round. They are, in my opinion, doing a pretty good job regarding to their colleagues that are just following the allopathic route, of course, but still it's not enough. I have spoken with a person that considers herself an organizer of others holistic practitioners, and she is actually not just considers in the sense that she's not. She is actually. And he is holistic practitioner too, very much knowledgeable, but still said to me, "Oh, I am on high pressure blood medication, and I have been since 10 years. How come? I mean, this woman." I like to call all the women girls and all the men boys, regardless of their age. So this girl, was very much, into holistic things. She has some age, she's not very young, so she is in this field since years. So how come? Okay, so are we sure we live in the natural world? I don't think so. So what is a natural world? Well, I define natural world into, I would say, at least a natural world should have two characteristics. One characteristic is being really filled up with good quality nutrients, and these good quality nutrients are in the soil. Okay, so the nutrients that we are getting from plants and animals come from the soil. Okay, so are we still there? So my answer is totally no. The soil is almost sterile. It is due to the in Italy we say the friends of the cougar is a way to say fake friends. So it is due to the grain cartel and the sugar cartel that in the 50s and the 60s made this quote-unquote green revolution, and they are still trying to do that today again with this, in my opinion, all this climate things is, I don't say that there are not some dangers, but it is all this, emergency is all made up. How did the pandemic emergency go? Where did the pandemic emergency go? Into nothingness. Where was this emergency? All the world in lockdown. Why? I understand that I can sound like a conspirational theory, but I actually don't care. If you say that I'm a conspirational theorist, I mean, you can have your opinion, but if if you're here listening, maybe you are struggling with your health. So your body actually doesn't care about your opinion. He doesn't care at all. You can have all your opinion. You can say that these are conspirational theories and all blah 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 blah. But actually, when your body is struggling, well, maybe you begin to be a little open-minded, right? I am saying this not to mock you. I am saying this because I am compassionate. I understand that our mind is difficult, that unless we get seriously ill, we are not there to doubt ourselves. We doubt everything else, but not ourselves. And with ourselves, I mean our opinions. So if we say that these are conspirational theories, then for God's sake, these are conspirational theories. It's not just my opinion. Okay, so, but, okay, I am just speaking for the sake of speaking. The soil is sterile, and we have data. I have spoken about data in the first episode. Go and watch them. But if you go around, it is true. Actually, the soil has 1/10 of nutrients. I have given the reference in the first episode. And not only that, it is filled up with toxins, with toxic forms of copper that is so widely used in agriculture, like pesticide. Copper is used for pesticides, but that copper is not the copper that your body is able to utilize. It's a toxic form of copper. Okay, it's going to poison your body. And what Paul Eck, the scientist that invented mineral balancing, discovered was that copper toxicity is so much related with toxic metal toxicity. So actually, if we speak about toxic metals, actually we should include into the toxic metals also the toxic forms of copper, of any mineral. There are toxic forms of iron, toxic forms of calcium. There are so many. Okay, so in the natural world, this is important. We were in contact with at least with soil, so with food that was at least 4 times higher in micronutrients, and I would say mostly for the most nations, in particular Western nations, but also Asian nations, etc., etc. Even we have soil that are, like I said, 1/10. They have 1/10 of the nutrients. So actually, in the ancient times, from 100 years ago and before, we came in contact with food that had 10 times the nutrients of the food that we used to eat. So are we going to eat 10 times the normal food that people used to eat? I don't think so. I don't think so. Okay, we also spoke about that. And actually, so if people ate once a day, actually they were eating so much more than you. You are actually depleted. That is the point. We all. I mean, I'm not including myself because I'm doing mineral balancing since years, but okay, I will include myself just to be compassionate. We all are nutrient deficient. We are starving. You don't, even if you are fat, if you have stored fat, if you have a good muscle, for example, muscle, etc., that doesn't mean that your organs is starving for minerals. Okay, is another kind of starving, but you are not aware of this. Okay, because if you starve, okay, but if you're starving for micronutrients, you don't reconnect the dots. You are tired, fatigued, you cannot focus. You lack your I would say the willpower, and many things, like emotional stability, a clear mind for problem solving, etc., etc. It is just a starving of nutrients, nothing more. But we don't know it. So when we used to eat a lot, we used to build up those that were called alkaline reserves. that are meant to make the pH of the body stable, not too much acid, actually a slightly alkaline in some region, not everywhere, in some regions of the body. In some regions is good, the acid is good. So okay, and nowadays we don't have alkaline reserves anymore. We don't have it actually, because we don't even have the normal nutrients to do the normal functions of the body. So the alkaline reserves are so important. And actually, what we have today, we say toxic reserves because, on the contrary, contrary to the natural world, we are so filled up with toxins, with toxic metals, with toxic chemicals. Again, I have spoken about this in the first episode, so go and listen to it. We are facing a thing like 10,000 times the toxins that we should face in the natural world. So for one toxin that would be present, in a natural world today, we are facing 1,000 toxins, so 999 toxins more. So it is an enormous amount of toxins, okay? And we did not evolve to face all these things. We are not in a natural world. This is the reason why natural remedies are not enough, nearly enough. I have seen solutions proposed by some healers that are, quite acceptable, but still people are doing this solutions, like totally natural solutions, in particular the raw meat diets, things like that are interesting, but still people are doing it since 20 years, since 30 years, and are still saying, I need to detox this and that. I mean, if you are following a good protocol, in 10 years you should be healthy, at last. I mean, you should feel the benefits, of course, immediately, but I mean, are we going to take 40 years to heal? Or even, also people that are following this diet since so long, this protocol since so long, still a long time, still they are suffering. They are suffering a bit. I mean, they have increased, their health has increased a lot. They are very knowledgeable. They make life happen, but 40 years and still they are not at their top. Another thing would be, the juicing, vegetable juicing in particular, or a diet high in fruits. And I am for natural diet, which comprises lots of animal fats, lots of animal proteins, so meats, eggs, dairy, raw dairy, but also many vegetables. Actually, the majority of the tribes ate many vegetables. Of course, there are people that cannot cope with vegetables nowadays. But why? Because of the things we have talked today. Because of the fact that we are so full with toxins that inflames our bodies. So we need to take out the toxins. So food is not enough anymore. We need supplements and detox procedures. What supplements? What kind of supplements? The supplements that we have talked about, I am, like I said, against supplementation. So go and watch the first episode. I am against supplementation. I would be totally against it unless we are finding some good source and we are doing some hair mineral analysis. So think about it. And my experience is that if you do this, like a mineral balancing program, which is, in my opinion, the most broad, comprehensive, modern, non-toxic program for healing. With broad, comprehensive, I mean it is not specific for conditions like cancer, for example, like the Gerson protocol. Mineral balancing can be used for a great variety of things, of conditions, from normal fatigue to multiple chemical sensitivity, and all of them would get improvements. So, but of course, you should have a mineral balancing practitioner, registered mineral balancing practitioner that have studied the science of Paul Eck. So actually, as I said, a mineral balancing, so a normal holistic practitioner that are going to test your hairs, or even a medical doctor will just read the readings like they were reading a blood work. So yeah, calcium is high, copper is low, iron is low. Is very oftentimes nowadays we see low iron and low copper, for example. But in my experience, they are not really low. They are actually, we are filled up with copper and iron, but not good forms, toxic forms of copper and iron. But they are not going to show in the mineral test unless you are going to get convince your body to take them out, to dump them out into the hairs. So they will begin to show after 1 year of protocol, and after you are doing 2, 3, 4, I would suggest every 4 months to do a test. So after maybe you do 2, 3, or 4 tests, they are beginning to show. But these are things that can just tell you a person that has studied the science of Polak, and not a normal holistic practitioner. If you give me your hair, your readings, if you go in particular to the lab that I use, which is the original lab of Polak, that uses the right procedures to test your hairs, we are going to see how your organs are oxygenated, how your organs are hydrated or dehydrated, how your organs are calcified. If you have troubles and problems with thyroid, troubles and problems with adrenal glands, and I'm not saying, all these problems maybe are not going to show themselves into normal medical doctor diagnosis tests. We can anticipate for 5 years or 10 years before the problem is medical diagnosable, And even if you have a tendency toward cancer, toward diabetes, we can see your sugar resistance in your body, so how much carbohydrates you can have and how much not. And in particular, we will know the step to fix all of that. And this is only a thing that is doable with hair tissue mineral analysis, interpreted correctly by a person that is going to interpret it correctly. So thank you for listening, and please, if you find this information helpful, take a moment to share. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Guardians of Balance wannabe, for listening to this episode. Begin to heal today for free by joining my Telegram public channel, Essential Wholeness, which you will find the link in the description, and grabbing your free PDF with the instructions for one of the most powerful detox procedure I use in my practice. May we all as a planet find true healing now.